Hi, in today's video I'm going to take a look at building Emacs 30 on Ubuntu 24.10. The reason why I want to do this is because the version of Emacs installed or available on Ubuntu 24.10 is 29, and I want some of the features that Emacs 30 offers. So let's switch across to Emacs here. So this is Emacs 30 running as a Wayland application on Ubuntu 24.10, running Gnome as a Wayland desktop. So what I'm going to do is actually take you through the steps of getting this built and all the packages that you're going to need to install. So the first step is you need to clone Emacs. And this is done by running git clone and then the path to the repository, as you can see here. It's going to take a few minutes to download, I think maybe 10-15 minutes. Right, so once we've done that step, what you do is you cd into the Emacs git directory that has been downloaded. And then we're going to install some packages. First package that we're going to install is build essential. So sudo apt install build-essential. Then we're going to move on to some packages for images. So just ignore this here, this libpng thing. So what we have here is a list of packages that we're going to want to install so that we can enable support for these image formats in Emacs. So what we have here is a list of packages, and I'm not going to read them all out. So what we have basically is we've got stuff for PNG, JPEG, TIFF, GIF, SVG support, WebP, and ImageMagick. You want ImageMagick enabled because this will allow you to actually process the images. Emacs has actually got a built-in, that's a photo editor. That's stretching it a bit. It will basically allow you to crop images and do a few basic image manipulation techniques. So those are the image packages that we want to install. So once we've done that, we want to install the packages that we need for Emacs. So what we got here is GCC, autoconfig, libgnu tls, gmp, Jansen. I think that Jansen is for JSON, I think, from memory. libgcc jit, can't remember what that is for offhand. I think that's for the native compilation of packages. Then we have libmpc for MPC support, ncurses, text info, libwebkit. Yeah, and that's about it. So those are the packages that we're going to install before we want to try and build Emacs. So once we've got that installed, we're also going to want to install the packages for Tree Sitter. I won't go into what Tree Sitter is, you can look it up. But those are the packages that we want for Tree Sitter: libtreesitter 0, libtreesitter dev, and treesitter CLI. And the really annoying thing about all this is I've done this on Fedora, but the package names are completely different. So on Fedora, they'll be called libtreesitter, whereas on Ubuntu, it's libtreesitter 0. On Fedora, it might be treesitter devel, whereas on Ubuntu, it's libtreesitter dev. So actually figuring out the correct name of the packages took some work. So once we got that installed, we can move on to the autogen. So inside the Emacs directory, what we're going to do is run export cc equals userbin gcc and export cxx equals userbin gcc. Once we've done that, we can actually move on to the next step, which is running autogen. This is going to go through and check all the requirements of a field to actually build Emacs. And once that's passed, we can move on to the next step of configuring Emacs with the packages and options that we want. So you can run configure --help to actually get some help on this. And what we've got here is the configuration options that I've used for this particular install of Emacs. So what we've got here is configure with dbus, with GIF, JPEG, PNG, SVG, which is SVG graphics. There is actually a function in Emacs that allows you to take a screenshot of Emacs as an SVG image, which you can then actually edit with Inkscape. We've got TIFF down here as well. As you can see, let me just, with TIFF, XFTE, GPM, you want image magic, as I said. X toolkit, yes, that is what the libweb toolkit was for. With modules, with native compilation, so it will natively compile the packages. With PGTK, so that's pure GTK, so that will be running as a pure Wayland application. So if you want X11, you're going to need to put that in. I think this is just purely Wayland. Then we have with tree sitter, and also importantly without pop, because what actually happens is it tries to install a mail server. I forget which one. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it will try and install a mail server otherwise, which you probably don't want. So those are the configure options. So once we've run configure, what we then do is we do make. So make -J, $, and then we've got nproc here. Okay, so that's going to build Emacs. That may take sort of 10-15 minutes or so, depending on your hardware. And then finally, what we can do is we can actually run Emacs with the Emacs is going to be built in the source Emacs directory of the Emacs Git directory we downloaded. And running it with the -Q option will run Emacs without using your current Emacs configuration. And what you can do is in a scratch buffer, you can put a native comp variable P in, and you can evaluate that, and that will tell you if Emacs is built with native compilation of the packages. Okay, so install. Sudo make install. Nice and simple. And then we've got the tree sitter stuff down here, my notes on tree sitter. And what I'm actually going to do is take you through my configuration of Emacs and give you some tips on key bindings. So if I come across here, and let's just come across to this one. So I'm running Emacs, Ubuntu 24.10 on a MacBook Pro Retina 2015. And I had to do some work to actually remap some of the keys. So I'm going to show you how you can do that using XKB. So you can actually remap the Control, Alt, and Command keys, and also remap the Shift 3 so that it outputs the hash symbol, which it doesn't by default on a MacBook. So just having some tea. Then I'll also show you a couple of fixes that you need to put into Emacs to actually get the key bindings working, because annoyingly it doesn't seem to pick up the XKB settings when you sort of remap some of the keys. So what I'm going to do is come across to Emacs here, come across to my .config XKB directory here. And I've done a full video on this, so if you search the channel for sort of remapping keys on Wayland, you'll come across this tutorial. Basically, what you have to do is you've got to create these particular directories that you can see in front of you. Compact, key codes, key map, rules, symbols, and type. Now, a lot of these are going to be empty, but you still actually need the empty directories for this to work. So we've got compact, that's empty. Key codes is empty. Key map, you can ignore that one, that should be empty as well. Types is empty. So the only two we need to concentrate are rules and symbols. So in the rules section here, what we have is evdev and evdev.xml. And just a tip, if you're trying to find the names of the keyboard names, basically, on X11 you could use XEV, which will actually output the names of the keys as you press them in the terminal. On Wayland, what you can do is install WEV, which is the Wayland equivalent of XEV, and does the same thing. So we've got the evdev and evdev.xml. So what we have here, let's make that a bit bigger. We have options equals symbols, custom alt-win control equals plus custom alt-win control, and then include evdev. So what this is we're actually defining a custom key map name. So when you use tools like Gnome Tweaks, which I'm going to show you in a minute, then we have some more tea, it will show up as an option in Gnome Tweaks listed as alt-win control. And what this basically does is on the MacBook, the keyboard layout in the bottom left is function, control, alt, and command. So command would be super. So what I want to do is actually have, instead of control, alt, command, I want to have alt, command, control. So this is how we're going to remap them. So first of all, we define the group name here. And then in the evdev, this is a bit more complex. What you can see here is we've got the name GB, we've got name alt-win control down here, short description, alt-win control, description, alt-win control. So it's basically the same stuff. Custom options, you can see down here in config, custom alt-win control, description, control is mapped to alt, alt to win, and win to control key. Okay, so that's the gist of the evdev.xml file. So we'll come out of that and we'll come into symbols. And what you see here is I've got two things defined, custom and GB. So first of all, custom. So what we've got here, let me increase that a bit. You can see, first of all, we've got the comment, / describing what this is. So control is mapped to alt, alt to win, and win to the control key. So then we have partial modifier keys, and we have XKB symbols, alt-win control, which is the name of the group that we created in the evdev and evdev.xml files. So what we've got here is two things. We've got key, so left alt, and this is where we're remapping it. So we're remapping left alt to left super. We're remapping left win to control L. We're remapping left control to alt L meta L. And you can see this key AEO3, 3 number sign sterling. What this does is this actually remaps shift 3 from outputting the pound currency to the hash sign. Okay, so instead of when you press shift 3, instead of outputting pound sterling, it actually outputs hash. And this is really useful because you use the hash symbol a lot in scripts and things like that for the shebang. So this is how we remap the keys. So we've got the custom one here, and then we have GB. So what you'll see in this one here, XKB symbols, Alt-Win control, so that's the name of the group. You can see these are commented out here. We have name group 1 equals Alt-Win control -Mac. And basically what we have here in the keys section is the exact same stuff we've got in the custom GB, in the custom text file that I just showed you. We've got the same remappings. You just got to put it in both files. Okay, so that's the XKB setup. So what I'm going to do is take you across to Gnome Tweaks. So you've got to install Gnome Tweaks first of all. App search Gnome Tweaks. Sometimes on some distros it's called just Tweaks. So we've got Gnome Tweaks installed. Let's come across here, and oh yeah, I hit it. Tweaks. There we go. Tweaks. Okay. So all you want to do is come across to Touchpad. Right. And what you need to do is check this, toggle this button on. Show extended input sources, increase the choice of input sources in the settings application. So what you need to do is actually toggle that on, and you'll get a message saying you need to relaunch the session. So basically it's asking you to log out and log back in again for that change to take effect. Once you've done that, what you do is you come down to additional layout options. And what you'll see down here is this one called miscellaneous options. Now, if I toggle that, what you'll now see is we've got two things. We've got first one checked and the second isn't. And this is confusing. It had me baffled for a while. So you can see here, control is mapped to Alt-Win and Win to the control key. That is the description from the XKB configuration file that we created. All right. So you check that and that will change your layout. That will change your keyboard layout. What had me baffled for a while was I thought you actually needed to check this second option as well for it to take effect. You don't. If you do that, it doesn't work. It buggers stuff up. So don't check use user-defined custom XKB types. Don't check that. Just check the name of the XKB group that you have configured. Right, what that does is that now has changed my keyboard layout. So, for example, if I press Shift 3, you can see now it outputs the hash symbol. The command key now works as control, and control is Alt, and Alt is the super button. So that's much better, because otherwise you're going to really have to stretch your fingers about to actually use the control key or use particular key bindings in Emacs. So next thing that we actually want to do is, annoyingly, Emacs doesn't pick up those changes. So what happens is there must be some difference in the way that Emacs evaluates key presses. That means it doesn't pick up the changes when you remap the control key and the alt key and stuff. So you need to do a little fix to get it to work. And that's what I'm going to show you now. So .config Emacs init.el, and let's come across and just increase the file size here, the screen size. So what we've got here is, let's bring it down a bit actually. Okay, that's better. So what we got here, first of all, let me just come into my Emacs directory. I've got an early init here. So we've got my early init. And what this does is this hides things like the toolbar, the menu bar, vertical scroll, loads a theme, sets the default frame list, and also it makes the initial buffer load faster by switching its mode to fundamental mode. So, you know, when you switch to the scratch buffer, what this does is it sets it to fundamental mode, which makes it load up quicker. So that's the early init. And then what we're going to do is come into the init.el. So init.el, what we've got here, Emacs startup hook. I've taken a large chunk of this from David Wilton's System Crafters, which is really good. Also, some bits from Prot and some tips from Sasha Chua. So we've got the startup hook here. We got the Malpa packages. So this is a list of the packages that I've got installed. So consult, Doom Mode Line now playing, which actually displays the time of a video being played that has Empress support. So you can enable MPV with Empress support, or it will pull in the time from browsers that support Empress like Firefox and Chromium, and it will display a kind of now playing thing showing how many seconds have elapsed in the video. We then have EDNC, which is the Emacs Desktop Notification Center for Emacs notifications. And what I'll do is I'll just switch across and show you how you can set that up. You can replace the GNOME Desktop Notification Center with the Emacs Desktop Notification Center. And the way that is done, if I just switch across here, .config, auto start, and we've got this file here, no GNOME notifications.desktop. And in this file, what you'll see is a type application and then execute user local bin, no GNOME underscore notifications, hidden true, no display true. So what we're going to do is just take a look at that script. So user local bin, no GNOME notifications, very simple script. What it does is it runs pkill-f org.gnome shell notifications. And what that does is that kills the GNOME notifications. And what will happen then is this will be executed whenever you log in. It will kill the GNOME notifications and use Emacs's EDNC for notifications instead. We then have elfeed, org, elfeedtube, elfeedtube MPV, which is brilliant. That lets you pull in elfeedtube elfeed is for RSS feed, and elfeedtube is for YouTube. So it will pull in YouTube URLs, and then you can basically use MPV as the player. What we got down here is stuff set up for Evil. We've got Google Translate. You want the MPV package, nerd icons, org tree slide, that's good for presentations. Some other packages like undo tree, vertigo, which key, which is essential. Require packages, package archives. Okay, here's general settings. So these is just general settings for saving all temp files in temp. Emacs user ID. Don't back up file, don't run by sudo. Okay, scrolling. So we've got scrolling pixel precision mode. Now this is the fix I wanted to mention. XKB fix for Alt and Super. So we remapped some keys, and what you actually need to do is set Q X-Alt-key SYM to meta, and set Q X super key SYM meta as well. And what that does is that fixes it. So basically it actually sets both control, it will actually set two keys to be meta, but that's the only way I found to get it to work. So what happens is I've got my keys remapped from Control Alt Command to Alt Command Control, and what this does is this basically sets Alt and the super key both to be meta. And if you don't do that, it doesn't work. So that's not really an issue. The main thing is to actually get it to work. So as you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm pressing the control key and X. So the control key is being remapped to Alt, and we have to tell Emacs, okay, that's now the meta key. So that all works. Then we have the fonts down here, set face attribute. So this is the face and the code that I'm actually using here. And some of this stuff I think was defined in early init. So this is the background. Okay, so we've got Doom mode line down here. So this is the settings for Doom mode line. Truncate except project. So what this does is, you can see here, this path is truncated. So it's not showing like .config emacs init.el. It truncates it just so it shows you basically the project and the file you're working on. And that's useful because otherwise your mode line is going to end up all the way down there if you've got a long file path you're opening. Okay, so this is Doom mode line now playing. So this is where you can set the maximum length that's displayed. And the important thing is to set the interval to 1. So what that does is, by default, the timer is 5 seconds. So the time will go 5 seconds, 10 seconds. What you want is it to be displaying the time every second, obviously. You can set ignored players. You can set the actual format, the player CTL format that is displayed in the Doom mode line. So what we've got here is duration, position, duration, empress length, and title. So that displays the duration and the current position as well as the title of the thing being played. So that's more Doom mode line stuff. We got the tab bar up here. So what we got is stuff set up for how the tab bar behaves and how it's presented. So for instance, you can hide the tab bar if there is only one tab open. What you'll notice up here is you'll see this little guy up here. This is actually the menu bar. So what you can actually do is you can hide the menu bar and have a little icon up here, which is a Unicode icon that when you click will display the menu bar. And in my opinion, that's just makes it a lot nicer, a lot less cluttered up at the top, but you've still got access to that. And the way that that is done, yeah. Turn on tab mode bar after startup, and we've got the tab bar menu bar button up here. And I think, I may be wrong, but I think you need Emacs 30 for this. So this doesn't work in Emacs 29, so that's another reason, so that you can have a nice little Unicode icon up there to switch to Emacs 30. I think it may be this, you need this bit as well up here. Add to list, tab bar format, menu bar. I think it's a conjunction, it's a combination of these two options down here. It's been a while since I set it up. We've got evil key bindings, tree sitter, which key undo tree, some more stuff for tree sitter. So tree sitter is for syntax highlighting for when you open a script. So if I switch across here, bin, see, trim clip, you'll see we got the syntax highlighting. You can get a sidebar come up. I forget how you do that offhand, and I won't get distracted looking into that. But those are my settings for tree sitter. Basically, you set tree sitter up and you have to run a command which will actually download the tree sitter language. I did a video about that. I tried lots of tree sitter things, but some of them don't, quite a lot of them don't actually work. You've got buffer list, so display buffer list in the same window. Okay, so what this is if you press Control X, Control B, Control X, Control B, you get the buffer list come up. Now, normally what happens is this is actually shown in a split, a vertical split. So normally you would get a vertical split and the buffer list would be displayed in the separate buffer split. And the issue is you would have to actually switch to that buffer using Control XO to actually be able to interact with your buffer list. So what this bit of code here does, add to list, buffer display A list, buffer list, display buffer same window. What that does is when you run Control X, Control B, it displays the buffer list in the same window and not in a split that you've got to switch to. So that's just a nice little feature there. Set queue, just general stuff down here. You can have a look through. I'm just scrolling through, see if there's anything. This is the Emacs dictionary server, which is nice. You can either run this with the, you can actually install the local dictionary server, or you can use one online. That's my settings for that. We've got some functions, reload init, vertigo. So yeah, got a lot of stuff in here. Magic, key map, diode. Yeah, so what you can do is if you install diode X, what you can do is by default, come to my desktop here, my home directory rather. By default, what happens with diode is it's going to show hidden files by default, which I don't really want. So there's a bit of code I've got in there that means I just press Control X Meta O, Control X Meta O, and that will toggle hidden files. So Control X Meta O, and what you can also do is press Shift 9, and what that does is that actually toggles the file permissions, date, that sort of thing. I think this view is the default in diode, and the issue I always found was it's really annoying because it pushes all your stuff to right over here, and you kind of got to navigate here. So Shift 9 toggles that off. So this is just a much cleaner look for diode. So that's the settings I've got there. Diode listing switches. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's the one here, hide dotfiles, set queue diode emit files, concat diode emit files, with that bit of code there. And that's what sort of hides the hidden files. The dotfiles also, diode has a thing where it displays free space. I don't like that. So set queue diode free space nil. Yeah, this is hide long listings by default. So this is a bit of code that hides the long listings. So the long listings again is this. So this is the default view, and what we want is this. And so that's what this bit of code does here. Diode hide long listings by default. And then you have to add this hook afterwards, which basically does that. This hides the async output buffer. Got some other stuff down here. This is how you can open PDFs with Zathura. So what this does is if I'm on a file in diode that is a PDF and I press ampersand over it, and what normally you would then do is you would normally type out the name of the command you want to use to open that file. What this does is this automatically sets PDFs to be opened by Zathura. So all you've got to do is press the ampersand, and then it will automatically open the PDF for you. We've got diode FD down here. Switch to buffer results automatically. This is another thing to do with diode where it creates a split, and what this does is it automatically switches to the split. We've got rip grep down here, so here's some stuff for rip grep, tramp. So this is my org setup, so we've got a lot of stuff for org down here. We'll just see if there's anything else. Okay, so this is stuff for org capture down here. Org babel do load languages. So I'm just loading the shell for org babel load languages. Okay, this is yank media, registered handlers for org media. And what this allows you to do is actually copy a image from the web and then yank it into an org mode buffer, and it will actually save the image file as well, and include the image file in the org buffer that you can toggle on and off to view it. And I did a video on that, so you can check that out. Org tree slide. So this is really nice. This is actually what David Wilson of System Crafters uses, and I used this in a previous video I did. So you can check that out. I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, this is what I did for org tree slide. Mutt. Okay, this is useful. Add shebang file when saved. So if I come across here and create a file and call it like test, okay, save that, and I put in a shebang, say bin sh echo Emacs rocks, okay, Emacs rocks, okay, and I switch across to the desktop. What you'll see is that script is automatically made executable. Emacs rocks. So that's what this bit of code does. Basically, if you add a shebang to a file, it will automatically make that file executable for you, which is really handy. Okay, so Wayland clipboard. So this is the Wayland clipboard, so you can copy stuff from the Wayland clipboard into and out of Emacs, and that's done using, I think it's the WL copy package. Let's just double check. Search WL copy, or it may be called WL clipboard. Yeah, that's it, WL clipboard. But it has commands called WL copy and WL paste, as you can see. Okay, so that's the Wayland clipboard. Now what we've got is a load of settings for MPV. So this is to do with using MPV from within Diode or with EL feed, an EL feed tube. So I've got a lot of stuff down there, which I've gone through in previous videos about how you can control. You can actually control, you can open a video from Diode and have it open in MPV, and then actually control MPV from within Emacs, because MPV has a socket that you can connect to, and I've done videos on that, so you can check that out. And I've actually rejigged the org timer so that it uses milliseconds, so you can actually get millisecond accuracy with MPV and Emacs, which is useful for lots of other things that I've done videos on. Just going to see if there's anything else. MPV diode, yeah, so this is another thing, how I basically set it up to automatically open video files with MPV by checking the MIME type of the file rather than the extension, because you can create a text file with a .mp4 extension. That's not going to make it a video. So what we do here in this bit of code is we're actually checking the MIME type of the file to be opened, and if it is a video file, it will open with MPV. So if you have a video.mp4 that is actually a video, it will open it with MPV. If you just create a text file called video.mp4, it will figure out, okay, that's just a text file, mate, you're having a laugh. I'm not opening that with a video editor. So that's what that does. Okay, we've got MPV EWW. So this is setting up MPV to work with EWW, which is the Emacs web browser. And that actually works particularly well with archive.org, which actually uses file listings for see if I can bring this up. Okay, see my terrible choice of TV that I watch. Okay, so let's go, of course, to the bill. So I'm on the bill here. And another tip, while I'm at it, what you can actually do is do org toggle link display. Right. Okay. So what you'll see here is we've actually got, if I come across here, right. So what we've got up here is we've got YouTube links. So these are just regular HTTP links here to channels on YouTube. So when I run Control-C, Control-O on these links, these will open in my default browser. It uses XDG open, I think, what is it? XDG open, I think. And it will automatically open those links with Firefox, which is my default browser. However, as you can see in this section down here, what I've done is for these links, I've prefixed them with EWW:. So what that does is if I do org toggle link display again, now when I press Control-C, Control-O, it's actually going to open that link in EWW. So what you then do is press skip to main content. Right, okay. And what you'll see down here is a list of all the files. I've just copied that one to the keyboard and the clipboard. And all I've got to do, if I want to open one of these, I just press L on the keyboard and it will open with MPV. You can additionally set this up so that it actually opens MPV full screen on a particular display as well. You can then control, if I bring up my Hydra, where's my Hydra? I forget what the, yeah, okay, there's the Hydra. So function F2, you can see here what I've got is, I won't show you a video because of copyright reasons and stuff, but basically when it's playing, I can control MPV from within Emacs, just as if I was using MPV with it focused. I can go backwards, forwards, take screenshots, load of stuff. So that's another thing I just thought I'd mention, using MPV and EWW. So you can feel free to pinch all this code here. And what you can see, what this does is, I'll just go through this. You can see this, if not MPV process, MPV start URL. Otherwise, what it does is MPV playlist append URL. And what you'll see down here is evil collection, define key, normal, EWW mode map, L, MPV play, EWW, which is the name of the function above. So what happens is if Emacs, if MPV isn't running and you press L on one of those links, it will open in MPV. If MPV is already running and you press L on a link, it will append it to the playlist so that it will automatically be played after the currently playing video. So it means you can just go through and go bang, L, 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 and it will just append all the videos to the playlist and play them sequentially one after another. EWW pinch, what this does is, this allows me to use a script called pinch, I covered in a previous video, that will actually take the URL and send the audio to MPD. So you can be on YouTube or a video link and just send the audio to MPD. EWW task spooler. So this is using task spooler with YTDLP to download links. Task spooler is an application that allows you to execute commands sequentially one after another after the first one's finished. So you can say, download this file, this file, this file, and they'll be downloaded in order. Same thing with ARIA2C. This is the Hydra for MPV. So you can see here what the commands that we've got. We've got like seek backwards, forwards by 5 seconds, 60 seconds, step frame forward. So we've got the HJKL keys defined so that we can go backwards, forwards, step forward, backwards by a frame, pause, kill MPV. We can also use this to actually insert the current playhead position into a file. We can take screenshots. We can bring up the OSD. We can move different items in the playlist, jump to a playlist entry, remove a playlist entry. And now we've got the Emacs Desktop Notification Center, which I covered how you can actually set as the default, even on GNOME, by running the GNOME using auto start with the GNOME notification script that kills GNOME notifications. So it will use EDNC instead. So there's that. We've got stuff down here for EL feed and EL feed tube. What else? So this is some of the props code down here for cleaning up EL feed tube using tags, which is really nice. We've got MPC host and finally garbage collection. So that's just a run through of my Emacs init.el. Might be some helpful things in there that you could pinch. So that's how you can build Ubuntu. You can build Emacs 30 on Ubuntu. Really doesn't actually take that long to actually sort of download it and build it. Install all the packages. You're probably looking, depending on your network and hardware, maybe 30-40 minutes, something like that. And you can just rebuild it as necessary every couple of months, and it allows you to use the latest features of Emacs, which aren't available in the Ubuntu repository because it's only got version 29. I actually run FreeBSD as my main system, and that actually has a package called Emacs Devel. So you just install Emacs Devel and it gives you the latest version of Emacs, which is really nice. Whereas on other systems like Ubuntu and Fedora, you actually have to build it yourself. There is also a snap package for Emacs, which allows you to run the latest version of Emacs. I believe it's built by someone who used to work on Ubuntu or does work on Ubuntu or something like that. If you really want to use a snap package of Ubuntu, you can. But I just recommend building it yourself. It's not too much trouble. The only issue is actually finding out the package names needed to actually get all this going. So again, the important thing I should mention was the, have I gone past it? Yeah, the XKB fix for Alt and Super. So that's one thing that's useful to know, is actually how to fix issues when Emacs isn't recognizing your custom key bindings that you set up with XKB. And I think that's just due to a difference between how Emacs evaluates key presses. So you actually got to give it a bit of a nudge to get it working. So that's Emacs 30 on Ubuntu 24.10. Not that much issue getting it built and everything, and it gives you lots of nice features. See if I can actually get the screenshot. See if I can demo the screen. Okay, so what I'll do now is pictures, screenshot. Okay. So we've got screenshot open up here, and I think what you can just do is actually just left click. I think there's a way you can actually, maybe I haven't got it built in this one or enabled, but there's actually a way you can open the image, and I think you got it. Is it image crop? Image crop. Yeah. Okay. See here, I can actually drag over, press return, and you can see it's actually just cropped the image. So I just close that and then reopen it. You can see it's cropped the image. So it is actually possible to do basic cropping with Emacs, believe it or not, and that uses image magic. So that's why you want to install image magic and enable it in the config. So that's all for now. I'll put links to this file as well as my config for Ubuntu 24.10, all my .files and scripts as well. So that's all for now, and I'll finish it there.